Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about the T30. The T30 is a tank that I've been playing through recently due to the recent season challenges, the on track to the T110E4, which is a tank that I would say is arguably one of the best heavy tanks in the game. However, it is a tank destroyer. But these top two, the T30 and the T125, and to an extent the T28 prototype, are played like a heavy tank. You don't really play these like a traditional tank destroyer. They're meant to go and I would say they play more as like a support heavy. So the T30, some first I'm going to talk about some pros and cons of the vehicle. So I would say initially pros. The biggest pro of this tank is that huge 155 millimeter gun. You got 750 alpha damage on this tank. That is super hard hitting for tier 9. The ISU, not the well, the ISU 152 has that at tier 8. The Object 704 has that at tier 9. The T95 of course has a 155 millimeter gun, also the same gun. But still, 750 for a tank that you're gonna play like a heavy tank is still very solid. Another pro is it has a very strong turret. In the armor profile, 279 on the gun mantlet, 228, 215, but it's very well angled, and I think 203 on the other side. Yeah, so 215 and 203 at first doesn't sound impressive as raw armor numbers, but it's the sloping. I don't know what the effective number is, but it's a decent turret. Don't sit your tank in front of tier 10 tank destroyers, but most everybody else medium tanks at tier 10, heavies when they're not firing gold, or mediums or any tier 10 that's not firing gold will most likely bounce off your turret armor if you can hide the lower hull. The penetration on this tank, 276 for just AP shells, that's great. 320 for APCR, also great. It has very average hit points. It's pretty middle of the pack. It's nowhere near like the Bar or the Tortoise or any of those super high hit pool tank destroyers. It also has decent view range. So the view range I have right now, because I have the perk for view range, situational awareness, puts it up to about 432. I think its base is 390 or so, maybe a little higher, maybe 400. I might be wrong on that, but somewhere around there. Some cons of this vehicle are, of course, it has a really bad hull. So this is the same hull that you should be used to if you played the T29 for the American Heavies, the Tier 7, or the same hull that the T34 Premium Tier 8 heavy tank has. And it's only 127 millimeters of armor. It's sloped pretty well, but it's nothing special. Tier 7s might bounce off this. Tier 8s are going to have no issue, and Tier 9 and 10 are never going to have an issue penetrating with just normal AP rounds, standard ammunition. So the hull is something that you have to learn to cover up. This is a hull down vehicle. Another con is it's decently slow, 35 kph forward, and let's look at that reverse speed, because the reverse speed is the next thing I want to talk about, because it is very poor, 10 kilometers per hour backwards. Meaning that in this tank, the reason I say it's a support heavy and not a frontline warrior is, one, the bad hull armor, but two, that reverse speed and the long reload of this gun, which is another issue. Base, it's like 16 seconds. With the rammer and with a couple other things, you can get it down to about what I have. I have 15 plus rapid loading for the perks, and vents, so I got it down to about 15. The only thing I don't use is premium consumables, which maybe might take that down just a little bit lower, but it's got a very long reload, and that bad reverse speed means you can definitely overextend yourself. That is the biggest key to learning how to play this tank, is learning to not overextend yourself when in engagements. You don't want to do the thing where you're driving up and you overextend and you chase the damage. You don't want to chase the damage, because with these big alpha damage tanks, you're gonna want to you're gonna get to a part where a tank is backing up because they see you coming. Like, people are gonna want to try and hide from your gun. It's the same thing with the FV215B. If you drive that, the FV4005, people are gonna want to reverse away from you because they don't want to get hit by that big gun. And it's very easy to begin to chase them, and then you'll be caught out of position. You might come out of your hull down location, and you're going to expose that bad hull armor, and you're going to get hit, and you'll make your 750 shot, but then you'll eat multiple rounds in return during your reload. So you want to be disciplined when playing this tank. The upgrade line for it is fairly simple. First, you get the engine. With that first engine, it's pretty sluggish. It really struggles to get up to that 35 km/h top speed. But with this engine, you're going to have no issue. Then you get your radio. Then you get tracks. Tracks, of course, help with ground resistances, traverse speed. And traverse speed on this tank is extremely poor. That's another con of the vehicle. Is it has very poor turret traverse and track traverse. The turret traverse is 19 point something degrees, and then the track traverse is only 22. So and you start with 20 on the stock tracks. So tracks are and traverse speed is pretty rough. Then you go from you start out with a 320 alpha damage gun with 218 millimeters of penetration. Then you work your way up. You get the second 120 millimeter gun with 248 millimeters of penetration, 400 damage. This is the same gun on the T34 Tier 8 heavy tank. So it's a great gun on that tank. However, it has a little bit longer of a reload. But on that tank, it's not bad. On this tank, on that tank it's decent, but on this tank it's actually really good, and you can really play a traditional heavy tank role with this faster firing gun, less than a support heavy. You can be pretty aggressive with this gun, like as aggressive as an M103 would be, or any other brawling it heavy tank, you know. So when I first got this tank and I'm playing it with this gun, I'm thinking, oh, this is a good get into position, get hauled down, kind of trade with your opponent, working your turret, and it kind of trains you to play the tank wrong. So I struggled my first 10, 15 games with this 750 alpha damage gun because I was still trying to play the same way with the 120, where with the 120 you can make trades. You have DPM that can withstand, that can battle it out and brawl with other tanks. But with this 750 alpha damage gun, that's such a long reload, it's really, really difficult to do that. You can't do that without help. You have to have help from other teammates, or you have to get respect from your enemy to where they're not just going to rush you in between your reloads. So you either have to do that by having teammates that are going to cover you, or enemy that are really dumb, or or you can. I've learned that you can kind of bluff with this tank also, is like make them guess when your reload's over, because they're so scared of the alpha damage that you got this 14, 15-second reload. So it's like, if you're 6 or 5 seconds left, you can start to try and go towards them, and it'll kind of bluff them into thinking, oh no, he's reloaded, he's going to shoot me, and then they'll start backing up and give you respect. So it's one of those things. But man, that gun is, I've gotten to where I absolutely love it. Once I got it down pat, I learned how to not overextend myself and not try to brawl with enemies, but instead, come up on a ridge, hit them for 750, reload for 16 seconds, come back, do it again, and while you have friends covering you. So I've really enjoyed it. Also, it has for a tank destroyer, it has a pretty bad concealment rating, but you're not going to play this tank do not play this tank sniping in the back. At the beginning of games, I'll take some shots you don't want to be in the very back. You don't want to be camping in this tank, but you don't want to be at the front lines. You want to be support heavy, like an AMX-50 B or an AMX-50-120, like that kind of second line, where the people in the really heavily armored things, your Object 705s, your Object 257s, are going to take the hits for you. They can brawl, and you come out from your cover, keep your hole hidden, take your shot, go back, and let those guys brawl while you reload. So you really have to rely on teammates, which is, in this game, is kind of hard to do. But once you get it down pat and you learn how to not overextend yourself, it becomes easy. So for equipment, obviously gun rammer. That slow reload, 3 rounds per minute, is rough. So you want to get your DPM up as high as possible. And then vents for even more DPM. Originally, I was running optics, because tank destroyer, view range. But I traded that out for gunline drive. This gun has a 2.9 second aiming time, which nowadays in World of Tanks with vert stabs or gun stabilizer now, and how accurate every gun is, I'm kind of trained to do snapshots and peek ups and shoot really fast. And with this gun that I had originally, without the gun laying drive, it was missing a lot of shots because I wasn't giving it the time it needed to aim in. So I decided to put a gun laying drive on, and I don't know the statistics. People say that the gun laying drive is completely worthless, and there might be reason to that, but to me, it helped a lot. I thought, but so that's for my equipment. I run gun rammer, gun laying drive, and vents. Consumables, I never run premium consumables just because I like to keep as much money as I can because I play so much that I'm buying so many tanks. But if I did, I would obviously first thing would change the fire extinguisher for some premium consumables just to get the just for enhanced rations, not premium consumables. My apologies. Just to get the DPM up a little higher, and then after that, obviously, like enhanced repair kit, enhanced med kit. Um, this tank really doesn't catch fire that much, so fire extinguisher isn't, it's not life or death. Maybe enhanced fuel boost wouldn't be terrible on it, just for the turret rotation speed. And the horsepower, I mean, horsepower really is an issue, but plus 5% mag speed, and that turret rotation speed would be really nice. For the commander, so obviously 6 cents, obviously rapid loading, DPM you want as high as possible. Steady aim and snapshot are must-haves on this tank, just to keep the reticle as small as possible. Born Leader, I put that on all my tanks, and for this perk, for situational awareness, this is the last perk I unlocked recently, the most recent one. I was really torn between rapid aim, the 10% increase to turret and gun rotation speed, versus view range, because I was like, well, I don't know if I really need that much view range if I'm playing this like a heavy. I'm going to be close to my opponents anyway. But I did the math, and I started thinking, I'm like, well, a 10% increase to a turret that turns 20 kp, 20. I'm sorry if you can hear that siren in the back. That's the daily tornado siren test. So I really apologize if y'all can hear that, but it'll be over in a second. But the 10% increase to turret and gun rotation speed really would only be like 2 degrees per second more, which really I mean, it's not that important. For the last 3 perks that I have not unlocked yet, I would probably go track mechanic, general mechanic, and then I would do rapid aim. Or I would do rapid aim first, then general mechanic, then track mechanic to finish it out. But yeah, that's my setup. That's my piece in the garage. Let's hop into some mastery gameplay, and I'll show you what this tank is about. So I'm loading into a game on Arctic region. This is a game that I played only maybe 30 minutes ago. But this is what I wanted to show you. This is the game that I chose to show you all for the T30, because I believe that this game shows the strengths and the weaknesses of the T30 very well. Plus, also, I got quite a bit of damage for a Tier 9 tank destroyer on this game, and kind of wanted to show it to y'all. I'm going to go ahead and skip forward to when the match actually starts. There we go. So automatically, I'm going to try to work my way up to the C2 section and shoot people that come, the opponents that come into the B4, B5 section. In that C2 section is a great location to get my tank hull down and only expose the strong turret and hide that lower hull that's really weak. So right now, also, as we're getting to the battle, you're starting to see the tank's cap speed of 35 kilometers per hour. Now, it definitely has more than enough horsepower to get up to that top speed, but since it caps at only 35, that's about as fast as you're going to go. So slowly, it's pretty sluggish comparative to some tanks like the Chieftain or the IF-7 that are in front of me. But I'll get there eventually, and as I'm crossing, I start to look to my right. I'll see an EBR-90 over here that has come up to get vision on our team. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my turret towards that direction so I don't get shot at by people that go to the B7 or D5 areas on the map. Because sometimes if you have vision coming in, you can take shots from over there before you even get to this position. I say great shot because that's huge. We took out the enemy's only light tank, so they have no vision for the rest of the game. So the probability of us winning this game has gone up tenfold. That's really big at the beginning of the game. So I'm feeling pretty confident now. I kind of overexposed myself here, but I see a Conqueror up there, and I aim, 2.9 second aiming time. I put a big round into the roof of the Conqueror. The Conqueror's roof, I believe, is only 40 millimeters of armor. I might be wrong on that. Could be 45, but you can overmatch the roof of the Conqueror with this tank's 155 millimeter gun all day. If the armor, if the caliber of the gun, 155 millimeters, is 3 times what the armor value is, you will overmatch it, regarding of what angle it's at. So this Conqueror's already taken 2 big shots from me. He's going hull down. He's doing everything he should, except good knowledge of armor models, of enemy tanks, and knowledge of the overmatch mechanic allows me to take him out relatively easy at the beginning of the game. I'm going to push the pace here because our chieftain has moved up so far, so I want to go up there and support him. Plus, I'm also thinking, can I get shots at that tank destroyer at the E5 section? But right now, I'm going to try and get up here and push the pace. There's a T110 E4 up here and an E100. 2 big guns, same same average damage on the E100 and 100 more on the T110 E4. So there's some big guns up here. I don't want to overexpose my hull. I'm going to try to use this hill and use the great gun depression of the T30 to get hull down and use my strongest armor. I'm also pushing this E4 because he just shot the IS-7, so now I know that he's in his long reload. So I'm going to go ahead and put a good shot in there and ammo rack him. The chieftain moves up. I assume he's going to take out the E4, and he does, which is great. That's one really scary gun out of the game. And I'm going to go up and go ahead and shoot the E100 in the lower plate. So I didn't even have to aim that one. I see the Gorilla 15, and I'm licking my lips because I know that I can go ahead and switch to HE and put 950 average alpha damage into him. The HE on this tank is really good for hold down tanks or for anything squishy or soft like the Gorilla 15, Rheinmetall Borsig, Panzer IV, and there's 973. So I actually high rolled just a little bit. 90 millimeters of penetration and 950 average damage on the HE rounds. There's the T92 that took over half my health at the beginning of the game. So feeling a little vengeful towards him. I'm trying to get up there quickly. I want to take him out. But I stopped to see if I can put a shot into this batch at 25p. I probably could have kept HE rounds for him, but I went ahead and switched to AP, and it turns out I'm not going to be able to get a shot on him anyway because the IS-7 takes him out of the game. So now I'm going to go ahead and start looking left. I want to look towards the T92. At this point in the game, I didn't know that I hadn't checked yet. I didn't know that the T92 had already been taken out of the game. But there's 6 enemies left. I'm at 3,711 damage and 254 spotting. So far already a decent game. Actually a game that would be good enough, almost, if I had 100 more damage, to 3-mark the tank. I believe the 3-mark on this tank is around 3,800. Chieftain comes back to defend the cap circle, so I'm going to use this dip in the ground to hide my hull and once again get hull down and only expose my really strong turret armor. So you see me getting back behind the ridge to only where my gun is exposed, and he doesn't even choose to shoot at me actually because he knows that I'm basically he knows that he's probably not going to penetrate my turret. But I managed to put a good round into his weak point, into his commander's cupola, and he bounces off my turret. So I'm going to wait till he stops again. Now that I'm reloaded, I'm going to wait till he comes up and stops once again to make that that shot. And here he goes, he stops, and boom, I put another shot into him. So now we're at 5,000 damage. So now it's getting to where it's a pretty good game for a tier 9 tank destroyer. There's another mouse up here, and he's side scraping, and I made a mistake right there. I was trying to go hull down off the IS-7 and unknowingly exposed my hull, and the mouse takes the shot. So now I'm within a 1-shot to this mouse. I make a that was actually a really lucky shot on the mouse right there to hit him in his turret cheeks, and normally I would say that I would not have ever penetrated that. I make another mistake here and I keep AP loaded, and I probably should have switched to APCR to take it to deal with the mouse. I got cocky here and try and see if I can make another lucky shot on the turret cheeks for the mouse, but he's angling as he should, and he's doing everything he should right with that tank. So here I go. Now I switched to APCR, albeit a little late, and I'm going to see if I can look for another shot into the mouse. However, he backs off because he's getting pressured from our FV215B up there. So now I know that I saw earlier there was a bar that's hiding in this cove up here, and somebody even pings it. I tell the FV4005 to fall back because I know that he's about to take a huge shot from the bar in the side, and probably he would get destroyed. However, the bar is as far tucked into that corner as he can in his final stand, and the FV4005 does not get shot. So I'm going to take a very risky peeking shot right there and go ahead and put a round into him. The FV4005 does get a shot into the bar, so now he's within a one shot from me. I go ahead and say GG because I see that the mouse is being dealt with in the bottom right, and I'm going to try and get the finishing kill on this bar. I get spotted there, so I'm a little hesitant, but I'm going to go ahead and just take the risk and secure that final kill, and in the game on 6,791 damage and 245 spotting. So not a bad result at all for a tier 9 tank. There I am, MVP, top of the leaderboard, 4 kills. So definitely a solid game, I would say. And as you can see, it's enough to even be a mastery and a high caliber. So decent game. I thought that game exposed the weaknesses and the strong points of the T30. How when I went up against the mouse, you could see that if you overextend that hole a little bit, you can get shot and you'll take shots. But if you do what I did with the Chieftain, you keep yourself hull down, you keep your hull covered, you'll bounce shots on the turret. And I also wanted to show that I didn't overextend myself with the T110E4 and the E100 at the beginning of the game. I didn't move myself out of position and or be overly aggressive. I let my teammates move up with me, and I let them take the shots and brawl. So thank you all for watching this review. This is the T30, and I hope you enjoyed it.